welcome to Connections for Life. I'm Ted P.
You tried to,
And apparently, you're looking at me. I'm just a talking head. Look at me.
my hat. Sorry, guys.
No, Surratt, where did you get a?
Come on, that was a good one.
I know, I laughed. Where did you get a
I
boxing?
each other up in the basement with them on.
Where do you? Is that why?
Yeah.
Is that where you send them downstairs to beat on each other?
Absolutely.
Nice. Smart move. I need to borrow that.
Yeah, it's an oversized T-shirt that I make both of our children sit into when they argue. I make them get in it.
Was it your T-shirt? Was it your T-shirt from when we started the show?
Oh, because he was husky.
Because you were big. Now you're not. You lost weight. That wasn't a dig. That was actually a
It was
compliment.
actually a compliment.
I don't know how to think right now because I don't feel like I lost much weight anymore.
Oh, you can cut your leg off.
My daughter tried to break it yesterday.
You probably deserved it. You put her in that shirt. That's why. Pushed you down the stairs. Anyways.
Oh boy.
So
What do we do now?
Well, I forget.
I think you're Joe Surratt.
Oh, Joe Surratt, right?
Yeah,
Talking head.
Oh man, that was great. So guys, how was your
what?
My
weekend? Was good.
Yeah, weekend was good. Lots of hockey again, which is always good considering a lot of the hockey world still actually shut down for youth hockey. Played 4 games. Went up to see him at school and spent some time with him yesterday. I missed him. It's good.
Joe showed himself. Stop pouring alcohol into that tea.
Kombucha.
Kombucha. How about you, Joe?
Stung my throat. It was good. We got a little snow here, so we went out and played in the snow, me and the girls. We had a soccer game for the first time in 2 weeks.
You finally got to see your girls again too, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks because of the quarantine, so everybody's happy and healthy again. They're over COVID, so here we are. But yeah, we got totally smashed in soccer again. I think the team that we play now is going to be going for the maybe an Olympic squad. It was pretty bad, but we got a couple new girls on the team, a new session starting, so everybody's pretty excited about that. And other than that, we made some chocolate covered Oreos and pretzels and made a cake. We just kind of did some domestic stuff.
Really domesticated.
It was fun. Yeah, I like doing that with the kids. It's better than them sitting on phones and just stuff like that. So
not much. Again, yeah, like Joe. You said hockey, and if Joe said soccer, you said hockey. Mine was basketball. I mean, we finalized our rosters. We had our and that kind of stuff, and we got our programs all set and ready to roll. We got 70 kids for a first year program. So
that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. How about we get into the segment of the utility gas update, Chad?
Our weekly gas update this week, I'll give it. It's just this was a little slow on utility news. I don't know why. This one's a week or two ago, but NICOR came out and they talked about 2.2 million meter changeouts. So they've modernized 2.2 million meters to smart technology, essentially. The amazing part to me about the whole thing is that they started that in 2018. They've done 2.2 million meter changeouts. And anybody that knows how tough it is to do a meter changeout and to relight somebody's pilots and all that fun stuff knows that's quite a feat. So really, congratulations out there from me to them. It's pretty impressive.
I'm not great at math, but that's a lot per year, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, it's quite a few. 750,000.
Well, technically, it depends on, I guess, when they started, and we just walked into 2021. So.
Oh yeah.
But that was it did say sometime in 2000. It's probably about 3 years. It's either way. It's pretty neat. I mean, just a cool little fact. So
very cool.
That's all
good for them. Congratulations.
Chad's stealing the intro again of our.
Oh man, I got to keep talking. Nobody wants to do that.
Because it's near and dear to his own heart, and we're venturing into a new foray of the show.
Yeah, we kind of jumped into this one. This was definitely different for us. Super excited to have Patrick Bedell with us this week. Patty is one of the partners and owners of 1Vision Sports and Entertainment, which is essentially an entertainment, mostly sports, but also an entertainment agency. And he's a sports agent. And
I think they just got into LinkedIn videos too, right? Aren't they representing YouTube?
They're doing YouTube. Yeah, I think it might be.
Thanks, Patty. Appreciate that.
Maybe by the end of the video, you'll know.
Pro bono.
But I've known Patty for a few years here, and he's close to our family. Just a great guy, and a lot of fun to talk to. A lot of fun. Just he's a younger guy, and just full of information, and just interesting to hear how this pandemic's changed his business. And also, we talk once again. We hit connections a lot in the episode. We hit the word connections like we do all the time. So.
One of the things I wanted to touch on just really quick is, Chad, I don't think everybody understands your connection. You say he's close to the family, but you want to just expand on that a little bit?
No,
He's essentially my son's hockey advisor. So
Yeah.
He's close to the family. He does a lot with us. My son's a pretty good. If you don't know, my son's a pretty good hockey player. Hoping to
Look him
see
up.
a lot more.
Logan Kuvo. He'll be in the NHL in 3 years.
No, that might be pushing it. You never know.
4 years. Sorry.
You never know. But yeah, so he's our advisor. He does a great job for us, and he's just an awesome guy. He really is.
Very cool.
that's great. So I guess without further ado, we bring to the show Patty Pad. Hello, Patty, and thanks for joining us on Connections for Life. The special episode that this is. I'm really excited to conduct this interview with you.
Of course, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having
Patty,
me.
how
guys.
are you, buddy?
Doing well.
Good,
Getting
good.
along over here, New York,
Yeah.
Long Island.
Long Island.
Long
Yeah.
Long Island.
I can hear the
My
accent
coffee.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Quarter
So
for some water for his dog.
we could spend a long time on this one. But we introduced you obviously earlier before you come on. So I guess we want to start with the very first question. Just how did you get your start as a sports and entertainment agent? Like, what was the deciding factor, and how did you decide to make a career path, that way?
Sure. It's a pretty interesting story because I kind of knew it all along. Back when I was younger, probably around 5th, 6th grade, everybody would ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? My thing was always, I'm going to be a general manager of an NHL team. That was what I was. 5th grade, I was never going to play in the National Hockey League because even back then I was like, I'm way too small and I suck. So
At least you were smart enough to realize that. Like, I still, I'm 43. I'm like, I could still probably play. Like,
somewhere else.
He's looking at his
My
parents,
plan
he
was,
did the math. He's like, nah, this ain't gonna work.
this isn't gonna work. But my thing was, I'm gonna be a GM of a team, and then they'll need a goalie at some point, and I'll be the emergency backup one day. And like from that, I'll get my experience playing, but then I'll go back to managing the team because I would never be able to last there. So it worked out, that would have worked out pretty well. But like, so back then I was like studying the CBA. I was like, all my buddies would be like, I'm 5th grade. So I would have in indoor recess, we would have, like, I was always the class clown. So I would have like the Patrick show and everybody would watch. And then I'd go and study the NHL collective bargaining agreement. So that was the way it would go. But so as the years went by through high school, I got to know a lot of athletes, and I don't know, you pay attention to the world a little bit more and see that it's you see how they treat players. It's like teams, it's just the way it is. It's a business. So it's impersonal. You're cutting guys, making promises until they're no longer of use to you, and then let them go. And that wasn't for me. So at around 17 or so, 16 or so, I was like, I'm going to be an agent. That will be my path. I'll use my ability to manage players and people and help grow their success.
Make connections for them.
Create connections for them. That's literally, and it's so fitting that this is the show,
Right.
is that I am, connections for me is everything. And being a general manager or working on the hockey ops side was not going to provide me that. So, I started out of high school while I was in college, undergrad. I did do some scouting, some hockey ops stuff, but it never clicked. So after a few years of that, while I was still or just out of college, I graduated a little bit early, but while I was just out before law school, I started with a sports agency, who was great. You know what? They had some things that I wanted some more experience. I wanted some more control, but they gave me a lot of opportunity to learn, to be able to do my own thing. So I was there for 2 years. It was a hockey agency. I would bring in hockey players, and they would take them to represent them. So I was like, all right, how am I going to represent my own guys? I was like,
They just keep taking the good ones.
well, of course, that's the way it goes. Like
Yeah.
you hire these kids to get the players, and you just go. So I was like, I'll open a different sport division. I didn't know anything about any sport other than hockey, but I was like, I'll open one. and they won't be able to take them because they're not going to learn the sport. So I figured baseball would be a good fit because I knew a lot of baseball players. So within a year, I had grown it to be like 30 clients, Dominican players, all these different players. I taught myself everything about baseball business, or most of it. And like, it was just, I had represented all these guys now at 22 years old.
That's
So
wild.
it worked out. And then I left, and, now that's where I am here with 1Vision.
Well, I think it's I don't want to jump ahead because I know Chad's got the
You're
next
right.
question, but
No,
one
you
thing you
got it,
kind of
Jeff.
glazed over is one of the important things is you went to law school. You're a lawyer.
Yeah.
And that's a big part, I assume, of what you do, and having the credibility and being able to understand law and the contracts and all of that. And I assume that that's kind of a necessary part of being an agent, right? That's kind of like you have to do that. I would assume
There's some that don't. There's some that don't. I personally think you need, like, contracts are everything here, and being able, even more than traditional law stuff, like, no one's an expert in everything in the legal world. Like, everybody always asks, how do you be this type of lawyer, that type of lawyer? It's not like you go for a special specification. You go to law school, everybody's the same law school, and then you have to study every day, whatever you're doing, whatever area you're in. So
Right.
like, there'll be issues that come up as an agent where I don't know it off the top of my head, but I can read the rules, find the rule,
You know
and
where to
explain
find
it.
it.
Yeah.
I know how to find it, and I know
That's
how
a
to
big thing in
explain it.
sales for us. As sales guys, that's a very big thing in any appointment we have. Is somebody asks you a question and you give I really have no idea, but I'll find out for you.
Exactly.
We can relate.
I just make things up.
Just go.
We were discussing that on the call before.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna make this stuff
yeah,
up, and then we're gonna figure out how to do it.
I didn't mean to deviate there. I just wanted to kind of point that out because I know that's a very important part of what you do. And
He did really nonchalantly gloss over it like that, though. Like, yeah, law.
yeah,
And then
Yeah, like, yeah.
if I was a lawyer, I would tell everybody.
You probably have a
First thing
t-shirt
I
that
said.
said it.
Yeah, right.
So,
anyways, I
lawyer.
digress.
So I know, Patty, it's these last, what's it been, 10 months now? It's almost, heck, it's coming on a year.
I don't even know anymore. I don't know how
Man,
long it's been.
It's changed immensely. And, the relationship we have, I talk to you probably once a week or so. So, how has it changed? And what's your day look like now? I kind of knew what it looked like a little bit before, but now what's it like? I mean, it's got to be a lot of this and a lot of phone calls, man.
It's putting out fires everywhere. Like, it's interesting because the day-to-day back then was much more like sports specific. You're doing the normal, speaking of scouts, organizing trips, or going places, seeing things, going to games, traveling. Now it's, in pro hockey, it's a mess. You've got movement everywhere. So players are getting released, players are getting waived, players are getting loaned, players are like, it's.
And meanwhile, all the leagues aren't even open. So that's
And the
even
leagues are
worse.
stopping.
Yeah.
So you got leagues opening, then closing, then rescheduling. It's players are getting, I mean, in the past month on the hockey side, we've had 7 players catch COVID. So, you're some are fine, others aren't.
Yeah.
Some are out for 2 weeks, don't get their breathing back to be good, like, and they're like struggling, trying to figure it out. Like, and you're trying to manage from afar and like be like, hey, don't worry, like, but at the same time,
You got to worry.
You got to worry. And baseball, you've got, it's very interesting because they literally didn't play last year. Like, they went a whole year without playing. So you're just managing chaos. That's the best way I could describe it. Sports right now, entertainment right now, it is the most chaotic you could ever imagine the sports world, and you're just trying to like figure out where you're going.
I have to assume your job before was very proactive, and I know that, and it still is. A lot of what you do is proactive, but I have to assume a lot of what's happened now makes you reactive, just because things are happening so fast that you have no control over that. It's got to be wild.
That's the difference. That's a great way to describe it. Is before it was you had an idea, like you kind of had a map, a road plan. Like, I'm going there, we'll do this, we'll speak to them, and then we'll ultimately have this goal. Now it's, like you're being shot with like tennis balls and you're trying to catch all the different balls at the same time. Like, it's a lot of reaction.
It's crazy.
Well, I think that brings us back to like the connections though. And I think that part of the established connections that you made in the industry or what you're doing now are very important and probably vital to helping you put out those fires, right? I guess the question I have for you is why are the connections so important to your business? Not necessarily just now, but also when, let's say when it was before the pandemic.
Pre-vid.
So
Yeah,
it's,
pre-vid.
I mean, it's everything. It's everything. I mean, you've got, whether it's between the connections that I have with teams, with scouts, with coaches, or with the players. I think before, yeah, and I shouldn't say before because it's still just as significant, probably more so, the relationships with the teams, because there's a lot of, you got to trust me on this guy, you got to trust me, and that's been hard. I can't, and I'm not gonna like sit here and say that I'm better than a lot of the older agents that have been doing it for 20 years because their connections, they grew up with these people.
Right.
They entered the industry with these people. I've noticed my connections in that side of things with younger people around my age are very strong. And I guess that's about that,
I
but they
think
got to
that's
trust me.
I think that's
Yeah.
that's a natural thing. And the trust factor, like you said, you got guys that have been doing it 20, 30 years. They've been doing it with the same people 20 or 30 years. So they have that comfortability.
That exists
No
in our
different.
industry, guys. I mean, if you think about the hierarchy of some of this stuff, like with reference to Dan or
Yeah.
they've got their peers that they elevated through the industry with.
Right.
And these are the people that are our mentors, Patty, like in our business that are older than us, that are, that have created this and created many things. A lot of the people we've interviewed before
Yeah.
this, it's amazing how we can talk about that. And the same things that you talk about are the same things that we do. I mean, it's
Right.
just with different, obviously different things and people, but it's pretty interesting.
I think there's a lot of parallels between almost all facets of business and what you do and how
Yeah.
important relationships and connections are. And regardless of what you're doing, whether it be a sports agent or a business owner or a salesperson or whatever the case may be, all of those connections allow you to be able to be successful. And they're very important in getting you across the finish line for your goals and objectives. So interesting. It was an interesting topic there. So let's talk about something a little more fun though. Chad, go ahead.
I'm gonna roll it. I think I'm gonna try and roll the next two together, just because they're kind of on the same.
No,
basis.
you're not rolling anything. You're gonna ask them one at a
It was
time.
good. I wanted the two at one time.
Put them together, Chad. I don't care what it's on.
That's
Put them
okay.
together.
Overruled.
Mine's just boring. I wanted to spin it into something good, but what's your favorite sport to represent? Like a browbeat.
And why?
And
favorite
why,
sport
please?
to represent and why? I don't really have a favorite. I would
That's
say
such a
I
cop-out,
don't.
Pat.
I don't.
100% a cop out, by the way.
I have
Ping
I have parts that are my favorite about each sport.
Sure.
So I'll give you my favorite
Go ahead.
part of each sport. Hockey, definitely, because I consider myself, even though I was garbage, I'm a hockey player. Like if I'm around hockey players, it's the way I am. I'm a hockey player. So I get along with hockey players. I always have. Like Josh Hosang is my best friend. I grew up, like I met him 6 years ago, and it was through friendship. I'm friends with, other players in the National Hockey League, guys that I never played with. I just met them out somewhere one day, and I was like, "Hey, you're cool. I'm cool. We're friends now." Like, and that's how things, like, I get along with hockey players.
I
really
think
well.
that's how my relationship started with you.
Exactly.
But you're not cool, Chad. So that,
Yeah, it's not me.
out.
I'm not the cool one.
I'm not the cool one. But it's like those sort of, and I guess that goes along with connections too. But like hockey is my sport. It's what I loved growing up. Baseball, I really enjoy baseball too, because it's that new fresh, like hockey. I'll be honest, the political side of hockey pisses me off. I think it's the worst of any sport. There's so much politics. There's so much BS. There's so much money. I like baseball because it's that breath of fresh air. That's, just even the way the development system works. These kids, you could have a kid that gets to college and is not really considered anything when he gets into college. He could be a D3 school and could transfer to D1 and end up being a stud that gets picked in the top 10, top 5 rounds.
But isn't that
Um,
true? Isn't that true with baseball too? That you could be a Division III or Division II player and still get drafted, right? Like that doesn't happen in other sports. It's you don't
No,
see.
it's really starting to happen in basketball, at least.
I know. I was going to say basketball. I've seen a little bit, but
Basketball's the
baseball,
only other
that's
I can speak to that because you're watching kids because the talent pool is so much. People are seeing more people because of the changes in our world with
Video.
technology.
technology.
Yeah.
With social media, kids who were never getting discovered based solely off of where they lived because there was no one who would
We
recruit.
talk about that a lot in hockey too, Ted.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, you were like, I'm a really good hockey player. And then you'd like go to a national showcase and you'd be like, I'm a terrible hockey player.
Yeah,
And
for
now,
sure.
now like you kind of know just by turning on your phone, like what's going on. It's
Well, you can
weird.
scout people from everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that brings us to, I mean, I know that there's a lot of different avenues. I know baseball, hockey. Is there what sport? I mean, is there any other sports or other parts of the sports that you represent? I know you do rep artists and DJs as well. So is there anything about that that's unique and interesting that you enjoy?
Yes. I mean, and also it's the different types of people. I don't know if you can, my dog's barking, so I don't know if
No, you're good.
It's okay.
We deal with it all the time.
Good.
We're gonna have to start this interview over with now. Real nice.
We're done.
Yeah.
But like I love the people in like the people component, like the artist I represent or manage, like her name's Ashley Metro. She is so different than the athletes. Like it's a completely different lifestyle. It's the creativity. It's good that she's different. It's good that she's in others, like in hockey, they're like, don't be different. How dare you be different? And
It's true.
in art, they're like, if you're not different, you suck. So
Right.
it's
That's interesting.
dynamic. But I enjoy that because I get to be. I didn't know anything about art. I started working with an artist, and I went there to her gallery in November, and like I was this athletic guy who's no sports, but I'm there.
Oh, we
Oh,
lost.
he froze.
Oh, he froze. I thought it was me. I didn't want to move.
At
Look
the
at
perfect time.
that
Psychology.
is fantastic.
There he is.
He
He's back.
froze. It was
You're back. You're
great.
back.
What happened?
You froze.
You
I
froze for a
froze?
second. Yeah. It's all
Where
right.
did I finish up?
At this.
Yeah,
That's
right. And not as attractive as I normally look. So
No, you
Here's
said
the
you said
story with the about the artist and going to her gallery and what.
Yeah.
It's kind of where it ended. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
and well, so in that situation, I was able to have these conversations that are so different than I'm used to in sports. Like you're talking about like exploring your creativity in your mind in such a unique way, and these
That's kinda cool,
people
though.
are like dyed hair, crazy. Everybody looks so different. Like I'm wearing this like nice but regular suit, and they're all like, bro, what are you wearing? I'm
You're like one of-
"Alright, I'll take the suit off. I'll roll up the sleeves, whatever.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's different industries, but the connections still prevail, right? You still are doing the same thing, and the message is still delivered the same way. I don't know, Teddy. I think you had another question.
I just I think something that's really cool is you described how you worked across different platforms, across different industries, whether it be sports or art or music. I think that's going to make you such a unique connection and such a unique cog that's going to be such a valuable asset for you because you're going to be able to tie the musicians with the athletes with that's good business plan right there.
I do
Diversify.
everything. That's
Diversify.
My business plan is to do everything. Yesterday I had a meeting with someone about his cookie business. I had a meeting. I'm going to help him with doing this music brand label type thing. I do all sorts of
But
stuff.
those are all things that you know how to do too. And with the law degree, those are all things you can get involved with, which is really cool. I mean,
That's why I went to law school, was to be basically to let my ADD just run wild.
Well,
Everything.
Well, the real reason we have you on this show is because it was just to get you on to ask you on camera when you were going to take us on as a client.
Yeah, that was
Connections for Life. That was it.
I know. And what did I say to you guys? What did I say?
I don't think we can say that on camera, actually. I think we can say what you said to us.
Well,
I have one last question before.
Oh yeah, you said you had one more, and then I want to say.
I do, and it's a very basic one. It's not a big deal. We had this conversation with a bunch of our sales guys this morning, but I want to know from a sports agent's perspective, who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I don't got an answer for you there.
Way to play the fence. We're gonna stay on this recording and stare at you until you give us an answer.
I don't
If
get.
you're-
I gotta
If you
say.
had to pick,
Do you know who the 4 teams are?
No, I don't.
See, he's like me.
Oh, not
I knew
football.
that's gonna be.
Okay.
I was like,
Get it.
somebody else better go first because I don't even.
Fine.
know
Who's gonna win the Stanley Cup? I know it's early.
There you go.
I mean, you got to go Tampa Bay based on
Again?
that. Like they're too good.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say the New York Rangers, but
I thought he was gonna say the New York Islanders.
yeah, and then we would have just closed the show out right then and there.
Hey, before you run off, I've known you for probably 2 years now. I really appreciate everything you do for me, my family more than anything, and we appreciate you. So, and I tell you that all the time, but it means even more to put it out there publicly. I feel like
we are family, and
that's
that's the thing that I think is so important is we are family, and like the appreciation's mutual because I am so appreciative that I can be a part of the family and that's the beauty of what I do is I get to grow my
With people.
family. Yeah, with
Yeah.
people. Exactly.
It's great.
Well,
And I couldn't, we couldn't do anything we do without you on this side. So I just want to say that we really appreciate
Love you
it.
guys.
You too, man.
We just thanks for coming on. We wish you a ton of luck. You're our first non-industry person, but we were happy to have you. And for Ted and I'll speak for Ted. It was great to meet you, man, and much luck out there. I think you're gonna do great.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate both you guys. All you guys. This is just you guys do a great job at this, by the way.
You don't know us well enough yet.
I wouldn't.
No,
you don't have to
I'm
say nice things now that we're
I'm
done.
telling you, I go on podcasts a lot, like not a lot, but like semi-occasionally. Like this, you guys were good. You allowed answers and you were quick, and it was like didn't drag on, but it wasn't
You're
too
not supposed to
short.
say this while you're still recording.
Yeah, no, pump our tires, pump them up, pump them
I'm
up.
pumping.
This is the
Yeah,
clip
pump
we'll
'em
put
up.
out at the season.
All right, I'm going to introduce Patty. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ted.
Thanks, Patty.
Really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Joe.
Okay. We'll
And
talk.
of course, Chad. Thank you.
Patty, thank you for joining us on the show. I, for one, just want to say, for having a venture into what's a new world for us, exploring connections in different industries and seeing all that, you were a pleasure to have on the show. So thank you for joining us.
It was a lot of fun to have him. Absolutely a lot of fun.
I've heard a lot about Patio Furniture before we started. I can't help it.
You can't do it.
Patio Furniture. Great guy. I never got a chance to meet him until now. Chad always talks a lot about him, and yeah, Pat, thanks for coming on. Really interesting what you're doing, and good luck out there. We appreciate being on the show, and hopefully everything gets back to a little bit more normalcy for you. I know it's really, really tough. We talked about that, but good stuff. Thanks a lot.
So
Absolutely.
how about we now get into an update on the UPSCO Trenton Corrosion Expo.
Good job. The UTCE. So I just our website Upsco Expo should be finalized by the end of the week, hopefully with schedules and hopefully registration. I assume.
You said Wednesday, not the end of the week.
Hey, a lot to do there, a lot to unpack. We are hoping to have that out this week. We're just going through some final things with the presenters, but I just wanted to quickly touch on the fact that everybody that's looked at this and showed some interest. It's going to be set up like a regular corrosion show, really. We're going to have a basics track, which is going to be your basics of corrosion, cathodic protection, stray currents, cathodic disbondment, a lot of different items. But then there's also going to be some more specialized tracks with a guy speaking from PHMSA and some other high-end, stuff. So that's all. I just, we can start pumping the tires of that pretty much in the
I'm
next
excited to sit through this. I really am. I say that because I got the pleasure of going to Morgantown last year for the short course and a couple
That was
stuff.
2 years ago.
Or 2 years ago.
Last year. So crazy. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to get through everything that I wanted to do while I was there just because it was my first time and taking it all in. I'm super excited to be able to sit through this and actually go, okay.
Yeah, you can put it together. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I think it will be. This is a little bit out of our comfort zone. I mean, the last one that we did was a little bit more scattered. We're learning a lot. I think we learned a lot of lessons and changed some things up. So yeah, it'll be good. We got some great presenters and a lot of people that have joined on that didn't have to, but they're really just really proponents of the industry and want to help out everybody that's kind of just either wherever you are in your career. There's a lot of good information there. And one thing Chad left out, it's March 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Would help.
Courses will run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard every day. Schedule will be out on the website. And again, I think I said it last week, but we'll probably just absolutely lambaste you on LinkedIn with information. And so get
Joe, one last
ready
question.
for
How
the
much does it
barrage.
cost? How much does it cost, Joe?
That's a good question, Chad. It's about free.
It's about
Yeah,
nothing.
so I know we just decided that a lot of these are super expensive and a lot of things you see online, and we did the expo for free and we created the platform and the website, and so we're just kind of taking ownership of the cost of this, and we thought we would just pass that along to everybody as another free one, and I hope everybody that can come enjoys it and appreciates what it's
Is going to be another opportunity to do give back with like the GoFundMe like we had for the Upsco Expo? Is there going to be another
We're
opportunity?
working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah, that'll be soon. We're working with the folks at AMP on a couple of different projects. I don't really want to talk about that yet just because it's not been completely dialed in. So I don't want to speak out of turn just yet, but I think that in the probably next week we'll have a lot more information. We have a couple of calls scheduled for this week. So I froze there for a second, and
No, you're all right.
I did on my screen and let me hold my nose.
Well,
So yeah, stay tuned. There's going to be more information. There will be some opportunity to donate to some charitable organizations. So we'll see.
Nice. Chad, you know what time it is?
I do.
What time?
It's weekly gas fact time.
Wow, look at you, man.
Gas fact, weekly gas fact.
If you could make the sound come on like that,
I can't. I tried.
I tried.
Chad used to be a salesman, but now he spends his whole entire week figuring out how to do that.
It only took me like 3 or 4 days.
Now you know why the website's not updated yet. No, gas fact, yeah. So this is I like to do the interactive ones to show how stupid we all are, and we have no idea. So I just as we know, a lot of states, most states, I think there's just one, but I'll have to check that, use natural gas to fuel and create electricity for homes. So I just wanted to pick the 5 states that have the highest electricity generation from natural gas. And I think you're going to be surprised. And that's the only hint that I'm going to maybe give.
I'm going to go like.
You go first, Ted.
Yeah, you always go first. So I'm going to go first.
Why don't we go alternate? Why don't we alternate?
Yeah, you guys alternate. I'll tell you yes or no.
California.
No.
Texas.
No.
Ooh.
Ohio.
No. This might take a while.
No.
South Dakota.
No.
I just knew there was one new one being put in.
I'll give you a hint.
Thank you.
Three of the 4 are located in the Northeast.
New York.
No.
So it's, oh man, Massachusetts
1
is one.
They're
Which
not
means-
number 1, but they're one of
No,
them.
but it just amazes me that they are really.
Vermont is actually 0.
Huh.
I think they're the
interesting.
only one, according to this study. I mean, this might have
So
been.
it's got to
last year,
be in that whole little range there, like Massachusetts, Maine. No, Maine, no.
Connecticut.
Connecticut's up there, but they're not in the top 5.
Okay. All right. Now tell us, because we've guessed it.
Yeah, because it's
Should have known that was going to happen. Number 1, Delaware, 93.6.
like 7 people that live there. It shouldn't even count.
93.6. I have some funny commentary about that, but we'll leave it alone. Rhode Island, 89.1.
Wow. There's 5 people that live there.
Louisiana, 81.6.
Oh wow.
Should have known that one.
Mississippi, 78.3. In Massachusetts, 76.6. A very close to the 5th is Florida with 75.8. So interesting. The other interesting thing that I thought, I saw this the other day, and natural gas is actually the lowest cost this year, 2020.
Is this a second gas act? Should I have another
Kind of.
thing for second weekly gas act?
Second gas.
You could just put gas facts. Which
Okay.
is,
It'll take me another day or 2 to fix that.
but I don't know the time parameter, but natural gas pricing was actually the lowest it's been in decades. The furthest I went back was 94, and it was still lower in 2020.
It's unreal. It's probably the only industry that the price went down in.
Significantly, it's been going down. It's because of the efficiencies. You have to think about it like this. Since 1990, I believe, I could be wrong, maybe it's 95. Since 1990, carbon emissions have gone down 73% with
Gotcha.
pushing more natural gas. And we've added 12 million more natural gas services since 2000. And the consumption rate is not increased, meaning efficiencies have become that much better that we're not actually using more gas, but we've created 12 million more customers.
Nuggets of knowledge and facts, man.
Yeah, well, I read a little bit, so.
Right. Well, I think we've wasted enough of our viewers' time on educating and making enough fun of Chad and I for how dumb we are. So until next week, folks, we really appreciate you joining us. Remember to click like, subscribe, comment, share, all the stuff you're not going to listen to me to say to do. And we will see you next week. No, Joe said pause.
One last thing I want to say, for those of you that don't know, we created a Connections for Life LinkedIn page. If you would follow that, you'll get updates and things like that. We have I think, I don't know, 150 followers or something like that right now, but please, if you would, it's just a better place to get our stuff.
Like 90 people. I got through 90 of my 1,400 connections or whatever.
Well, you got some ways to go.
You're out. No,
All right, guys, thanks. We'll see you next week.